Hi everyone, before this video started, I just want to say that this is a part 2, so if you haven't watched the first one, please do, link will be in the description below, but aside from that, enjoy. With Transformers Rise of the Beast coming out, don't worry, there will be no spoiler here. Some people cheering that the live-action Transformers has returned to its prime state once again, and while it was a movie that you guys should give it a watch, by the way, this isn't my full review of the movie, it has a lot of flaws which I'll be making a critique on that very soon. Anyway, back to you. I and many people can't help but to notice that the CGI looks off. It's obvious that the CGI has been downgraded drastically after Bumblebee. Now, I know it's not a big issue, like people just go to Twitter or threads to pull their swords and say big bad words about how the movie deserves to get trampled down, just like the forbidden T sentence.
Leave me alone!
I mean, some will do, but it's not about that. So what I'm talking about here is, since we know that the CGI is completely different, well, how different or how much of it has changed. And while I did a video about CGI once, I'm not a visual effects artist nor I know anything about how to make basic CGI, so I am no Corridor or CG Geeks or Ian Hubert or Blender Guru, but I am from a college major of multimedia broadcasting, which is mainly about surviving your personal identity crisis. I mean, it's about managing tools in any medias and any form of broadcastings, digital and analog technology, and of course, screenplay. And one of the subject I took is about camera and lighting, and maybe, just maybe, I could educate you guys on the subject through CGI in Transformers. Yes, I know it sounds stupid, so shut the One of the aspects on why the CGI in Michael Bay's Transformers is so good and real is because the level of detail. But detail on what? Well, almost everything. Every time the Transformers transform, you can see each part separated and twisted. When you see their faces, you can see their emotions, especially with the eyes. I mean, look at that eyebrows. But one of the most important aspects, the cherry on top, the -$1 on inflation, and that is the cinematography. In the movies, the Transformers have two types of shot. Wide shot, which is self-explanatory, it lets the viewers to see all of the Transformers, and then there's a mix of eye-level angle shot, which is for the camera to match the level of the human eye, and low angle shot, which is when the camera is looking up, making the person or object in front seems higher, because the camera itself is supposed to be on a low angle, but because in this scenario it's humans witnessing a fight between giant robots, which is why it's a mix with eye-level angle shot, just like in Pacific Rim. And with the mix of handheld, shaky camera and practical effects thanks to industrial light and magic, the combination just felt about right. Also, these awesome shots went on to the fifth movie. I know no one likes Age of Extinction and the Forbidden Tea sentence, but you have to be honest that the CGI is hella good. In Bumblebee, the CGI is upgraded and well, it looks even better. I mean, I have to put aside the Cybertronian war scene because fuck that shit. Now in Bumblebee, there's no shaky and eye-level angle shot. It's the first live-action Transformers movie to not use these action-type shots. Instead, thanks to the advancements of CGI, Bumblebee uses close-up shot for the Transformers, allowing you to look at the crisp and deep detail on them. This is something that was never done before in base Transformers movies, because lack of CGI technology back in the 2000s, you'd never really see the Transformers up close, because if you do, you definitely see the flaws. And even if they could do, rendering all these details, you'd need a good supercomputer, and back then there weren't any. In fact, in the making of Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, while rendering Devastator, the big kaiju Transformers, one of the PC almost exploded into smithereens.
My machine actually completely froze and had a total meltdown.
Our computer IT guys came up to look at what had happened. They said that the motherboard was dead, the hard drive had failed, and the memory was fried. So, everybody was a little bit afraid of Devastator at that point because he would devastate your machine.
Now I am become death, the destroyer.
PC.
So it's fair to say that the Bumblebee movie did a phenomenal job with its use of modern CGI technology and its amazing cinematography. Ooh, well, this is the fun part. In this section, I'll be talking mainly about lighting. While we know that the Transformers in this movie, Rise of the Beast, are less hollow, allowing viewers to not see the details in their body, the same thing are also present in Bumblebee and it looks good. So instead, let's focus on the main issue, and that is lighting. and also a bunch of other things. So there's hard light and soft light. These two types of lighting are commonly used in photography and filmmaking. Hard light is a lighting that casts harsh and well-defined shadows. Basically, you can see the clear boundary between light and shadow. It can be used to show a feeling or atmosphere filled with mystery or unease, while soft light casts boundaries of lights and shadows with a much more gradient and smoother edges, allowing the subject to have a more softer or romantic feel. So, in short, generally action scenes are more fitting with hard light, but I'd like to argue that it also could work with soft light if the cinematography uses close-up shot and shaky camera. The beach battle scene in Saving Private Ryan is the perfect example. Anyway, back to the Transformers. In Michael Bay's movies, because of hard light and these technique shots that I've mentioned, it makes the scene much more intense. While in Bumblebee, it's the same thing but uses motion blur and shaky effect instead, producing the same feeling of unease or intense. Whereas in Rise of the Beast, most of the time the fight scene uses entirely CGI, so digital smooth camera movement, digital CGI environments, and etc. etc. This is the sad piece that turning people on to make an assumption that the CGI in Rise of the Beast look downgraded. But who am I to judge? I'm just discussing about the difference of CGI from Transformers movies. I'm not criticizing it because I've stated again, I am very opposed to say that movies are bad because of the CGI instead of the story, as CGI is very hard to make, with the only exception that it doesn't closely resemble an actual real life thing that it tries to replicate, which is okay to be called out. Yeah, that's all I got to say. End of the series, guys. Bye.